There's a couple different ways that you can navigate to service information in SIS 2.0. So let's take a look at a couple different ways to find some basic service information. So this will be the same functionality for any CAP product. So whether you're putting in for an entire machine serial number or just an engine serial. So let me put in a serial number here, and I'll click navigate to go into the machine. Now the first thing I can do is I can find service information for a specific component by going into that component's product structure under Systems and Components. So let's say I needed service information on the turbocharger. So let me go to Systems and Components. I'll go into air inlet and exhaust. I'll go to the turbo, narrow my search results by toggling off of the warning indicator. Okay, so let's go to the low pressure turbo. So obviously here's your parts information when you first click on any component or product and your Systems and Components. It's going to default to showing you the parts information first. But right above your parts consist, you'll see a couple tabs here. One says individual parts, and the next one over from that says service articles. So when I click on that, here's all of my service articles. Here's all the information that would have been found in documentation in WebSys. So I'll show you what that would have looked like in WebSys. So I'll do the same thing. Put in my serial, Systems and Components. In this case, I was doing turbo, so air inlet and exhaust, turbocharger. And then when I went to parts information, I'd have to choose from here what I wanted to go to. So I'd have to go to parts information and actually find the part that I needed. But otherwise, all those service articles that you see in SIS 2.0, all of those same headers, this is what it looked like in WebSys. I had to choose, and I can only view one type of documentation at a time. I can only view disassembly and assembly, or I can only view engine news, or any information in the operation and maintenance manual related to the turbo or parts ID. SIS 2.0 makes that a lot easier. I can look at just the parts, but when I open service articles, here's all my headers for the different documentation possibilities, and I can read each one before I choose what I'm actually trying to find for the service information. So it's all laid out there in front of me. I can read through these quickly and know exactly if what I'm looking for is right there. It's all on one page, which makes it really nice. Now the other way you could have gone is if you come over to the service tab. So when I went into the machine, let me go back to my home screen here. I didn't need to, but I'll just bring you back to the home screen. So when I went into the serial number of the CAP product, in this case it's a on-highway truck engine, it defaults to having the parts tab open over here on the left-hand side. And then I can choose my parts tab, or I can choose my Systems and Components from here, go into the parts page, and then open the component service information. Or I can go directly to this tab right here that says service. So from here, what this is all the information that was found in documentation in WebSys. So in WebSys, what I would have done to do that same thing is I would have clicked on documentation. There's all the same options that I have under my service tab in SIS 2.0. So if I'm looking for the disassembly and assembly for everything, you're gonna have a couple different options here. Just pick the correct one for whichever you're looking for. So in this case, all the components I'm looking for are gonna be right on that C15 on-highway engine. It does get cut off a little bit, so if you need to expand that, just hit the double arrow on the top, pushes it out for you. And then you can scroll through, and since I'm in the disassembly and assembly portion, anything I pick here, the remove and install or rebuild or disassembly information is going to be for everything on that truck engine. So that's where you're going to find basic service information in SIS 2.0. Now there's one other tab that you don't see here under this serial that I chose. So let me try another serial number. This time I'm going to pick one for a machine. We'll navigate into it. So this time when I go into the engine, or when I go into the machine, when I navigate into the machine into my product configuration page, now I have 3 tabs. With that on-highway truck engine, I only had 2. I only had parts and service. You'll see a 3rd tab, and it's not always there for every CAT product, but if it is there, let's click on it. So here's your repair tab. And then there's only going to be 1 tab that I can open up. What this is a service hour interval. So it tells me what service hour maintenance I should perform by hours on that, in this case, machine. And that, in this case, it's a D8R. So if I pick, for example, if I pick the PM4, which is a 2,000 hour interval, it breaks down everything I should do for that PM4. So that's what you'll see if you see that repair tab. Otherwise, your parts tab is going to default to your systems and components. Your repair tab is your service interval hours, and then your service tab is everything that you found in documentation in old WebSys. So disassembly and assembly, information release memos, the OMM or the operation and maintenance manual, any type of schematic, service letters, special instructions, you can have torque specs. So scroll through there for information on how to service any of the parts on either CAT engine, transmission, or machine, or any CAT product with a serial.